Super intuitive.
Okay, we're going to start. Thank you so much for coming to our third Saturday reading poetry in Chinatown. I'm Clara Sue. I'm the Executive Director of Clarion Performing Arts Center. And I want to, before we start today, I want to pay tribute to a fellow poet, Jeannie Lupton. Jeannie passed away on March 6th, so just, very not too long ago. And she had been a very good friend of mine. We were writing buddies for about 3 years. And Jeannie's famous for her tankas, which is a longer, it's like haiku, but it has 14 more syllables, so a little bit longer. And so the 3 years that we wrote together, I've never written a tanka. And I felt that now I'd like to honor her with one of mine, but I want to read a couple of hers first. This is from her book, But Then You Danced. I think this is her first book. The morning after, dreaming of his babyhood, she kisses her son's cheek and is surprised to find it hairy. Following the lakeside trail into quiet, this step and this, all there is. In a still wood, scattering father's ashes at Easter, rising up out of the brush, a wild turkey flies away. And this is mine for Jeannie. You brought me flowers, poetic, romantic friend. For 3 years we met. Cruel time does cruel things. Only your tankers remain. Thank you. And I would like to give a toast to our poetry in Chinatown. I always forget to get my cup. Okay. Let's give a toast to all the living and dead poets. Cheers.
Cheers. Mazel tov.
Salud.
And great pun.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out to this March edition of third Saturday Poetry in Chinatown. It's a lot to say, but glad to have you. We have two wonderful features this afternoon. We have John Curl and Mahnaz Badihian. And we also have an open mic. And so if any of you have not signed up, please, the sign-up sheet is on the desk there. Please feel free to sign up and share your talents with us. And we're going to start off with some open mic poets. And first up will be my mentor and one of the features for next month, April, will be Sally Love Saunders. So welcome Sally to the stage.
Good to be here. Good to be here. I love Jeannie's poetry. She used to perform a lot at Sacred Grounds, and I have such good memories. She could say in a few words a whole galaxy of meaning. It was magical. Well, I wrote a poem just for you today, and it's called So Good to Be Here. So good to be here. So good to be here, breathing the same air as other poets, sharing the same air as other poets, and friends of us poets. Clara Sue refreshes me, and Greg Pond's voice, clear as a huge bell ringing. Good vibrations throughout the city and beyond the beyond. I'd like to give you this copy, Clara, if you'd like it.
Thank you.
I had a program all set for today. You know, like when I was a kid, I always thought we were going to the circus soon, and it was really later. Well, I thought this was last week, and I was all set, and I had my poems and everything, like I do when I'm really looking forward to something. And then this morning I woke up and said, no, I want a whole other repertoire of poems. I want to echo the poet that read the poem about the moon last time. So these are all moon poems. The full moon. The full moon, a fire crackling in a fireplace. As the evening goes on, the logs fall. I'm comforted by sitting in front of the fireplace in the sky. Taking a million baths, the glorious golden water from the very full moon showers onto me. The moon, a magnet. As a toddler, I struggled to the window ledge to see the light moon. Couldn't quite say moonlight. Taking a moon bath, the glorious golden water from very full moon. Oh, I have so many I want to read, but I won't hog up too much time, I don't think. The bashful moon. The bashful moon crept out from behind its mountain to face the world. Beautiful round-faced moon hiding behind shade of cloud so that all that peeks out is a sliver of gold. How I wish you could raise the shade that holds you. Or that hides you, hides you. Just one little star, or is it a sheet in the sky? But mostly empty sky, empty of golden moonlight, empty of smiling moon face. Just one lonely lost star, lost from its galaxy family, all alone in the cold metal sky. Greg, let me know when I should stop, because I could go on forever. Like a running freight train.
I think everybody get about 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Oh, I have no
And then if
sense
we
of
have
time
we
up
can
here.
go
I'm having
around.
so much fun. What?
But yeah, keep going.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Mother Moon, all night long, cradles me in her arms. Softly sings lullabies and spirituals. The trees listen, the smooth blanket of the bay, neatly folded aside. The moon's arms around me comforting, humming, she soothes me. All night long. Sweet moon watching me as I sleep, sentinel, patient, loving, kind. The moon watches me when I sleep and follows me when I wake. I kind of feel that the moon is like my pet dog. You know, it's there, it greets me, and we go for walks. It would be like a Cocker Spaniel dog. The moon is my house guest. Its presence jolly and laughter fills the room. The moon so loving, like my friend Irma, who pours love over me like rich cream pours from silver pitcher. It's 2 a.m. I'm in perfect balance with the moon and my house guest. Later the moon is talking about leaving It is backing off and put on its orange coat. We had a wonderful visit, the moon and I. The full moon, a fireplace, the dark parts the log. Later the logs drop, and the fire is covered with a cliffs of ashes and charred logs. You know, I call it my poetry emergency pouch with me all the time. And I was on a trip, and all of a sudden there was the moon. So I said, I have to get my emergency pouch. And my friend got, what? You have to get what? I said, don't talk, don't talk. And so I had to write about the moon visiting me. There was so much to say. The full moon. The full moon is a biscuit that has been cut out by a cookie cutter. It is sitting on the sleek blue cookie sheet. The full moon. The full moon, a fire crackling in a fireplace. As the evening goes on, the logs fall. I'm comforted by sitting in front of the fireplace in the sky.
A couple more, Sally.
What?
A couple more.
Okay, thank you. The moon. All night the moon allows only loveliness to shine. Allow the moon to supply the lighting for your soul. I love to take moon baths, you know what I mean? Moon baths. The moon lavishes velvet all over me and all over the valley. Thank you. It was wonderful being with you. See you next time. I'll be the feature, so y'all come now.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sally. Sally will again be the feature next month with Jennifer Barone.
Haha, that's a real
So
double
please
feature.
come out. Next up, I don't have the sheet, but I believe Yolanda is next up. Yes, all right. And after Yolanda, I believe Barbara is next.
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, my poem is a horror poem, coming out from Mission Local today. The article was posted on the 16th and Wednesday, the evening when both the police, two police matters were talked about on the same room or in different rooms. San Francisco Police Commission on Wednesday unanimously approved critical safeguards. It allows police officers to execute a search warrant without knocking. First, if it is reasonable to be there, if there is an imminent threat of physical violence to the officers or to the public. Served by the tactical unit and requires an assistant chief and a judge to sign off, but the policy also lets officers make an on-the-scene judgment to not if they believe such a threat exists. Commissioner Kevin Benedicto said it will go through an approval process. I'm not sure how long the approval process will be. Although the police chief and the director of the Department of Police Accountability recognize the public defender's office role in developing a policy. Deputy Public Defender Brian Cox, who at an earlier time in September 2021 said he was against it. It became that, but then because it became clear that there was no momentum to remove more items are concerned regarding the no-knock warrant. The no-knock operation from the police, September 2022. He said no one offered public comment on the agenda. It limits for if only you are present without adults, but it still allows for the situation if it's only you for the no-knock warrant. The police may conduct a search for non-adults or persons. Consultation with the DA sent by warrants requiring this consultation when conducting a search of a particular place. But again, if the police feel that there's a danger, they can conduct it without the DA's approval. Geofence warrants, which allow police to track all mobile devices within a certain area, were limited with strict and narrow allowances for the search. The Department of Police Accountability, the San Francisco Police Department, are due to 90% of the draft. Commission President Cindy Elliott's policies said that the process was not inclusive. There was little offer for public input. Public Defender's Office, the Bar Association, the DA office they were part of the process of passing this legislation. It was voted for unanimously. Leadership of a policy revision by San Francisco Police Department. The San Francisco Police Department revised the policy, which ended up for not allowing or thinking about public comment. So that news article, I tried to write in a poem, I was always stressed out. I read it this morning. I got it in my email. So the poem I had originally said, are we going to have another Breonna Taylor, Andre Locke thing, kind of scenario where the police knock, then people in San Francisco are robbers, they don't knock, they just storm in, the person shoots, the police shoot back, and as we know with Breonna Taylor, the people that warrant, they had no drugs, they had their own address.
Thank you. Pen. I got the pen. And I got Sally's. Well, no. You get a pen. Yeah. You earned it.
I want a pen too, Greg.
Oh, yes, you do.
Now look at you then.
Alright.
Oh, that's the best one.
My green one still works.
One for Sally.
Oh,
There's
good.
pictures.
Oh, there's
And Barbara's today.
I mean, if they're,
I'll take this one. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, Barbara. All right, we'll get one next to you.
Hello, I have two short poems. Remember that when you almost lost it, the man who didn't love you, nonetheless stroked your cheeks, held your hand, directed your thoughts from the cacophony in your mind to that melodic lifeline coming through the speakers. People should know how to do this. Those who can are remembered for more than the blonde curls time takes from them, or even the eyes that shine unchanged from their elderly faces. Metamorphosis. I become a gull, inch by inch, skin to plumage, smile stiffens to keratin beak, lashes fall like needles from dying evergreens, eyes migrate out and shrink, arms to wings, toenails to claws. Fish was never my favorite, with its aftertaste of newsprint and ink. Scooped just now from the tide, victim wiggles in my mouth, salty, springy flesh. Fish is wonderful. Lift off, meal moving still, blood metallic like the shimmering scales that gave her away as prey. Aloft, I ride Earth's gusts, trusting moments of suspension between exhalations. Gravity, a master who's lost my papers. This is free territory, as long as I can dodge power lines, hawks, owls. I was not so vigilant before I became a gull.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, I think next up we have Dan O, and to be followed by Jack Melander.
Thanks, Gregory.
Two poems. The first one is called Turtle Watching, and it begins with an epigraph. Fossils show that the painted turtle has existed for 15 million years. Watching painted turtles sunning themselves on rocks, leaning on each other like a sculpture called Turtles Sunning on Rocks. You never know when a brown carp will leap out of the water into the blue sky and right back into the muddy shallows, leaving the turtle shells sparkling with sunlight. Thank you. The next poem is a drinking poem called At Art's Bar, which also has an epigraph. Names have been changed to protect the drunks. When old Mary had a seizure at the bar last night, spasmed off the stool, whole wrinkled body flopping on the gin mop floor like a caught flounder, it made us all remember other times we needed to summon an ambulance. Carlos J's invisible slip into drunken exhaustion on his 75th fell straight back to fracture his skull as we all sang happy birthday to you. Bobby's kid, Bobby too, not yet learned to hold his liquor, broke both kneecaps dancing, caprolling off a booth. June's heart attack right there. Husband points to June's favorite chair, though she was only 54 and ordering one more. The list went on and on and on, almost a slapstick, as Big Mike cradled Mary in his drummer's arms, and Johnny O'Brien, recently diagnosed with cirrhosis, drank silently, listening for the sirens.
Jack was next, and then we'll have one of our features. Jack Melander.
I've got a couple of pages, third poem. A few months out of the incubator, this cooling, creamy poet, spine in my crib couldn't turn over as my grew irate, belting me through the bars in his angry bed. Just like the lyric impulse born of joy, made twisted into a worse little boy. This is called the gotta keep on feeling even when it leaves me feeling because I can't not feel anymore blues. If I turned mean early, I'd no chance to really live, who showed new growth, such perfidy, but then lightened up when they appeared to forgive, seeming Claudette's fire haplessly, He sometimes with his son and his drunken ire. I like to take him swimming through Fancy's Pyre. My brothers came down to the basement one day, told me no more Flash Gordon would we play. They let Dad talk when he was studying tech. He said imagination was imaginary dreck, so for sci-fi novels alone in a room, my playmates left me in the basement gloom. My new co-star was my friend from the street at improv play, interpreting TV, our concerted inspiration speciality, so I naturally figured it'd be real neat to have him meet my flame since kindergarten. Why liking him instead, me so disheartened, I started a fight in which we got beat. My dad, mostly gone, moved us twice in succession, huge old houses, some ghetto neighborhood, where black and white bullies at their discretion on the street or in the class beat up stun me good. My kid brothers, though, didn't take defeat so hard, but fought them to a standstill in our front yard. How could I have thought, if I'd become who I was born and had folks who shared a spirit of lyrical romance, to have merited so roundly all my peers' epic scorn? A brash pacifism was identity's best chance. One a sympathetic friend who helped me keep track of bully maneuvers I think he was black. Dad made me to feel like a fool, saying, good sons go to college, boys never will, so I had to join service for the GI Bill. Recruited promised language school out in Monterey. I signed my enlistment papers that very day, but down in basic training, heard drill instructor say, recruiting sergeant's promises you can just throw into the sick can. You're mine now, you know. Our 2-week clerk school's where you're gonna go. My colonel math prof, from our isolated base, told his airman test student confidingly, my civilian English prof was the queerest grace, though he lit up many dark stains over me. When for pushing Air Force pencils my desire lost its clout, they gave me a court-martial and an early out. You gotta grow side-biz brain so smart you really can't grow a mind with heart, so after discharge I buckled down for A's in math, made my brothers frown. Then I changed my courses to the English I espoused, and my bros and mom kicked me out of the house. Drove out west where tuition was cheap, got waylaid into a ghetto hippie commune where free love proved a vow you couldn't keep. Your artist pal, though, starved to duck the draft. And when I mentioned college, the girls just laughed. I'm the one who couldn't hold free love together in a world of possessiveness and jealousy. Though my buddy and I couldn't be sure whether our girls, having roused us thoroughly, couldn't just up and do the same for another. And when we asked them, heard him agree that my buddy and I could be those other. We four had commitment and variety. Till the draft broke my friend and he grew quite thin. So since one of our girls had an aunt who could cover their expenses till his 4F deferment came in, they left. 4 people, each with just one lover, living as couples in a strange and sin. And it goes on eternally.
Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to our features. Did you do Mahnaz? Okay. Mahnaz Badihian. Mahnaz Badihian is a poet, painter, and translator whose work has been published in several languages, including her native language, Farsi. Her latest book of poetry, Ask the Wind, which she has copies of there, was published in 2022. She's also published an anthology of COVID-19 poems and art, and is working on a novel entitled Gohar. She's a member of the Revolutionary Poets Brigade, a consulting member of the World Festival of Poetry. Mahnaz has master's degrees in poetry and sociology, and is a dental surgeon and a nurse. And she was also on the short list of finalists to be considered for Poet Laureate of San Francisco in the last voting. So I welcome to the stage my dear friend, Mahnaz Badihian.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. It's not easy to come on Saturdays after the week long coming here. First, I want to thank you, Greg, and the other nice lady. Yes, thank you for arranging this. I just want to, I have a lot to talk about, a lot to read, but I promise I will be very short. Because I just got back from India, and still I feel like I am in India. It is amazing because I had invitation to go to Kathmandu Literary Festival. I was there for 3-4 days, and then India is close to Kathmandu, so we went to India with my husband for 8-9 days, and it was, every inch of that land is like a live museum. It's amazing. I will just say something that affected me deeply is that even on the nice highways that they just built recently, let alone just the old roads, cows along the dogs, along the sheep, monkeys, walking together, hand by hand with people, and no one is bothering anyone. The driver stops and lets the cow go by. It was just so, I thought, so beautiful. This doesn't happen very, a lot anyways. So,
Not yet.
not yet. So I always start the reading with my native language as a respect to my mother tongue. So I'm going to read a poem in Farsi, Persian language, and then I will continue with a few poems in English. Is the voice okay? You guys can hear me? Okay. بوسه بوسیدیم زیر بوم‌های خانگی، زیر دست‌های ترس و تردید، بوسیدیم در خیابان‌های دربدری، در جاده‌های انتظار، در شهر شیطان. آنقدر بوسیدیم که لب‌هامان به جاودانگی رسید. بوسیدیم زیر خبرهای دروغ، زیر تیغ جلادان، زیر آتش خون، بوسیدیم ساکت. بوسه هامان هر روز طعم و رنگ تازه داشت. بوسه غم، بوسه شوق، بوسه عشق، بوسه فریب. All kisses. Thank you very much. All kisses. Three books today. The poems called Our Kisses. We kissed under the bombs in our motherland, under the thunder of fear and doubt. We kissed on the streets of diaspora, on the roads of despair, in the city of the devil. We kissed so much that our lips joined the eternity. Under all the beliefs, under fire and blood, under the executioner's sword, under distorted news, we kissed. We kissed quietly. Our kisses had a different color every day. Sad kisses, love kisses, kisses of excitement, kisses of fear, kisses of death, friendship kisses. Our kisses were talking when they silenced our voices, and our lips became our safe haven. Obviously, this is a political poem. Thank you. This is a political poem because, as many of you know, what is happening in Iran right now, that they killed a 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, a girl who had, covered as Iranian government likes, except few strands of her hair were showing. She was beautiful, innocent young lady. They took her, they arrested her, they said, we want to teach you how to cover your hair. And in 2 days, she was dead. And you guys know the lots of demonstration around San Francisco, actually. There is a lot of, been a lot. And the mantra and logo is woman, life, freedom. And so this was also the political poem that I wanted to read. Another thing that I want to say, I told you there's a lot to talk about. This coming Monday is our New Year, Persian New Year. Thank you very much. Called Nowruz.
What year would it be? What year chronologically?
It is going to be 14,000.
No, 14.
1402.
Wow, yeah.
It is different than this calendar.
Yeah.
So the first day of spring is our New Year. And it's not always the same. Like last year was March 21st. This year is March 20. And it's exact minute and second. So ours is different. We sit around a special setting of cloth that has 7 elements, starts with S, that each one of them represents a symbol in of life, like love, health, thing. And we look. The second New Year starts. Wow, boom, New Year starts. We dance, we kiss each other. And sometimes this New Year starts at 2 a.m. But still people, don't go to bed to celebrate the change of the year. So I'm going to just read this poem that I had called Tribute to Spring. I feel so ripe, as if I were just born from a tall tree in the garden. Fresh leaves sprouting all over my skin. I cannot stop growing every second under the clear whistle of sunshine on this Sunday before spring. I feel so ripe, as if I am coming out of the winter ground, carrying with me a taste of many springs. It is me or the aroma of the coming spring, or the recycling of love in my heart, which helps me with rebirth so beautifully every day.
What's the title of that poem?
The title was Tribute to Spring. Tribute to Spring. I have 3 more poems. I won't take it long. One poem is for Jack Hirschman that many of you know. It was a great poet in San Francisco, Poet Laureate, very well known. And he died 2 years ago. You guys, this December was the first year, right?
Yeah.
So we are on the second year of his year. And another one, poem called DNA, which won the winning poem in San Francisco, actually. And they published it in a special collection in San Francisco called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. I will read that. But before I read that poem, I am going to accidentally open the book to try this, and I will read the poem Lost Moments, and I promise you I'm going to read that poem, Lost Moments. Finally, my life is calm, and I'm trying to capture lost moments. Now I want to know my father, listen to him, but his presence is limited to the bones he left behind. Finally, I found a moment to learn from his wisdom, but he's too far from the basil garden he watered every day. Thank you. I am going to read this DNA poem, which is also very special. It's probably one of my first poems that I wrote when I came to this country. It was 1979, 80s. And I used to be a nurse in Iran. I was looking for a job, and we were living very close to Johns Hopkins University. So I made an appointment with Mrs. Willis. They told me her name, the person who's going to interview me, her name is Mrs. Willis. So I went to Johns Hopkins University. As you know, it is in Baltimore. It's a very famous university, hospital. And went for a job interview with Mrs. Willis. And this is the poem I wrote after my interview with Mrs. Willis. It was Monday morning, and I was passing the big statue in the lobby of Johns Hopkins Hospital, searching for room 20 for an interview with Mrs. Willis. She had a permanent smile on her lips. Her hands were wrinkled with red nail polish. Mrs. Willis looked me in the eyes. How do I pronounce your name, dear? I said, Mahnaz, the exact same way it is written. Mrs. Willis, with her master's degree, said, I will try. Mahnaz, Mahnaz, Mahnaz. Then gently she changed her voice and said, can I call you Mary? Mary, Mary, Moody, echoed in my head. I felt like evaporating morning dew, like a branch of a tree under heavy rain, like a fruit just fallen from a tree. I looked Mrs. Willis in the eyes and said, but my name is the charm of the moon, the name I was called by my mother, father, and by the man with black hair, dark mustache, and brown eyes. Mrs. Willis, is my name more difficult than deoxyribonucleic acid? So I am going to read the last poem, not only too much, that I promised. I wrote for Jack Hirschman. Jack Hirschman was a friend of mine, besides being one of the poets that we were in a group of Revolutionary Poets Brigade. He was a very close friend of mine. He was a lovely man, lovely. Everyone in this town loved him. He was nice to everyone. So one morning at 8 o'clock, a year and a half ago, I was having breakfast with my husband, and around 8 my telephone rang, and we were eating. I said, that was Deborah Major. I said, okay, let me finish this with my family in 5 minutes. I had some guests, and I answered. So I called back Deborah. I said, Deborah, what's going on? You just called me, right? I have missed call. I said, I'm afraid I have bad news. I said, okay, don't tell me. I got it. Don't tell me. And then that was it. That morning I was devastated. We had a farmer's market close to our house in Hayes Valley. I went to farmer's market. I bought lots of flour, went right away to his house and decorated the outside door of his house and left. I obviously didn't go in, you know, it wasn't the time for a stranger to go in. But a week later, this poem I wrote for him, that this poem is also, I made it into a video, it is online. For the Red poet Jack Hirschman, I feel closer to the galaxy today, soaking under rain, following the lost stars with this news, waking me up all night with wondrous arcane poems, chewing on my books. But can one believe that the guiding voice of love leaves this earth while his footsteps are still alive in North Beach? Which part of the galaxy has he landed in now? Maybe he flew to eternity to spread love from above. Who was this man? Tall, with a wild mustache, with a heart as sensitive as a child, and the energy of a young lion. Now that he won't be walking around city lights, now that he won't meet us in Café Triste and won't send us emails, I think the end isn't too far for all of us. How is it possible to see the sun go down right in the heart of summer in the city of San Francisco? The red poet will never come to my house again to eat Persian food and meet and read Rumi with me. I will complain to Rumi, I will complain to Walt Whitman for inviting Jack to eternity, only to have the red poet next to them. But let's remember to celebrate Jack. Let's dance behind house number 5858A. Let's put red roses in Aggie's hair, celebrating the man we all adored. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mahnaz. Another hand from Mahnaz Badihian. I believe Bloodflower is up next. I believe.
That's a good thing to be.
All right.
Up next.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Mahnaz. I should be really nervous because I don't usually follow someone as talented as you. I'm remarkably, I'm not going to push it. That mic's nice and hot. Thank you. I'm just going to do a little improv. Sorry. play it except for this instrument, but thank you for helping me. Thanks. Thanks. Hey, Greg. These aren't edible, are they?
No.
Okay. Thanks. Hey, thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Blood. Next up, I believe May. May is next.
Okay, I'm not May, but I'm representing.
Clara is going to read for
So,
May.
I'm reading for May. She's here, by the way, so she needs to stand up and take a bow afterwards, okay? May wrote this piece, and it is published at the San Francisco Writers Conference 2021 Writing Contest Anthology. It is titled, "The Wind is Cruel." The wind is cruel. My worst enemy cuts through the cracks of this cardboard house where I am half living and half dying with my best friends, this bottle and this mouse. You may recall a face like mine, a few times a year on TV, eating turkey at the Mission, so grateful around the holidays. The rest of the year I blend back into the sidewalk, a figure without a name, a statistic, invisible, voiceless. You may not see me, but I can see you. I can hear you. I can hear the little girl asking her mother, "Why is this man sleeping at the doorway? Why doesn't he go home?" "He's homeless, dear. He doesn't have a home." "But why doesn't he have a home?" "Because he hurt himself in the head a long time ago and can't take care of himself anymore." Yes, I hurt my head long time ago in a place far away, and the rest of me followed. The mother puts down a box in front of my house and says, "I hope you like pasta, sir. It is still hot." But they were gone before I could say, "Yes, thank you, ma'am. I like pasta. I like them hot. Someday I'd like to make some pasta, maybe even burn the pot, spill cheese all over the floor, make a big mess from wall to wall, but at least it is my own mess, on my own floor, on my own wall, in a place of my own, a place I can call home. You see, this cardboard house is really not a home."
Well, May, you get a pen even though you didn't actually read.
She should get 2 pens.
Give Clara some.
That was a really good, that was an excellent pen.
That was wonderful, May. Thank you so
That
much.
really was.
Okay. All right, next up we have Mr. Six Our Love. Okay, ladies left, and then after Six Our, I think we will have our next feature.
Great to be here. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Clara. So the first poem's called "The Old Downtown." I ride my stolen scooter through the old downtown. This downtown that wasn't gray until recent moons. This downtown that outfoxed earthquakes, fires, depressions, riots. This downtown that put money into wallets and purses. This downtown that clothed and fed the generations. Now it's quiet. It's hustle and bustle reduced to a crunch of leaves. No litter on the sidewalk, no trash in the bins. Steam still rises from manholes. A few neon signs flicker, but the homeless have no one to panhandle. Their only company? Ghosts of ruined stockbrokers, ghosts of mutilated bike messengers. The streetcar makes its faithful run. There are no workers or shoppers to drop off. There are no workers or shoppers to take home. This downtown, abandoned to its coma, only the streetcar believes its lights might waken. Only the streetcar, its line soon to be canceled. Okay, these next poems are a little more upbeat. This was inspired by the recent weather. Okay, remember me like the mushrooms, spongy yet dry, earthy but otherworldly as well, phallic but not obviously so. After deep rains, I'll emerge through the grass, a cameo but not a complete surprise, safe but not everyone will know that. And this poem's called Still Lost. Still Lost. Today, I found my jacket. It had fallen from a hanger in my closet. Yesterday, I found my glasses. They were spread on my kitchen table. The day before, I found the overdue library book. It had dropped behind my bookshelf. The day before, I found my keys. They were lolling below my desk. Still lost, the lyrics to that song. Maybe they lie on the floor of my closet. Still lost, my philosophy. Maybe it's sprawled on the kitchen table. Still lost, my train of thought. Maybe it hides behind my bookshelf. Still lost, my way. Maybe it lurks below my desk. Okay.
Next one.
Oh,
Oh, that's my favorite color today. Green.
Right, here we go. All right. Good, folks. I think we come to our next feature in the afternoon, and that will be John Curl. John Curl is the author of 12 poetry collections, including his new book, Rainbow Weather, Poems for Environmental Healing, from Vagabond, which is here on the desk. His translations of ancient Inca, Maya, and Aztec poets are collected in Ancient American Poets through Bilingual Press. He's the author of 2 novels, a memoir of the 1960s, and a history of cooperation for all the people. He co-founded Indigenous Peoples Day and published a history of how we replaced Columbus Day. At the World Poetry Festival in Venezuela 2010, he read with Nobel laureate Derek Walcott. He's a member of the Revolutionary Poets Brigade and has co-edited many anthologies with former San Francisco Poet Laureate, the late Jack Hirschman. And he also, his book, Rainbow Weather, had an excellent write-up in the Berkeley Times this week. So check that out. John Curl.
Thank you so much, Derek. I'm so honored to be here with you, and thank you, Clara, and I'm so honored to be reading with you Mahnaz today. So I'll read just from a Rainbow Weather. It'll give you a little idea of what's inside here. purpose of mirrors. That grooved, indented space between your nose and your upper lip. That place you can't see without looking in a mirror. It's called your philtrum. From the Greek, philtro, meaning love potion. The ancient Greeks considered it a very erogenous zone and also called it Cupid's bow. According to the Talmud, God sent an angel to each of us in our mother's womb and taught us all the wisdom that we'll ever need to know. Then, shortly before birth, that same angel touched us with one finger in the spot that is now our philtrum, and we instantly forgot all that knowledge. That touch left an indent there to remind us that our purpose in life is to ascend back to that all-knowing state we originated from. According to old Chinese philosophers, a deep, long philtrum indicates honesty. A short, thin philtrum means a hot temper. A wide philtrum shows a strong libido. A narrow philtrum that is short at the bottom, a narrow philtrum suggests stinginess. A philtrum that is short at the bottom and wide at the top means oversensitivity. A philtrum that is narrow at the top and wide at the bottom forecasts prosperity in old age. What's right under your nose? Look in the mirror. Making the invisible visible. We are surrounded by an invisible world of our own making. It's not really invisible, but most of the time, we just don't see it. As we move through the world, our minds grow so accustomed to the appearance that day to day, the extraordinary comes to look ordinary, as if we had scales on our eyes, or were looking through a dark veil, and we no longer see the full glory of this sublime living universe surrounding us, the world as it really is. In the same way, day to day, we grow so accustomed to the many bizarre customs of this society that most of us, most of the time, their full strangeness becomes invisible to us. And thus, the daily carnage of the system comes to appear as normal, as everyday human activities, as the natural order. I read it in the paper. I saw it on the news. The teacher said so. A woman's place is to acquiesce. A man's place is to agree. Landlords seem normal. Bosses seem normal. Homelessness seems normal. Cops seem normal. Pollution seems normal. Abuse seems normal. Racism seems normal. Sexism seems normal. Cheating seems normal. Revenge seems normal. War seems normal. Capitalism seems normal. Wage slavery seems normal. Murder seems normal. Destruction of the world seems normal. They've been doing it since forever. Just everyday, normal human activities. Blinded by the darkness. I woke up this morning. I half sleepwalked to the window. The street is still out there. I'm still here in this place. Let the scales fall from my eyes. Lift the veil. Awake, arise. I am blinded by the glare while my eyes adjust. But now at least I see the healing light of reality. Borders of the mind. The boundary between dandelion and rabbit, earthworm and soil, fish and water, seagull and wind, Ireland and Ulster, Juarez and El Paso, Gaza and Israel, Ukraine and Russia. Every mother dries her eyes while the birds fly over the borders. The boundary between wolf and wolf, lamb and lamb, wolf and lamb, stalker and stalked, victim and violator. Everywhere the children cry while the birds fly over the borders. Daughters of Abraham, sons of Semites, Celts, cousins, sons of Slavs, daughters of the Rus, sons of the Americas. Today's maps are drawn not by rivers, valleys, mountains, native populations. Today's borders are not defined by nature's designs, but by power and imperial wars. Everywhere the ghosts pass by, while the birds fly over the borders. The people of the northern coast, the children of the eastern slope. A mountain divides two lands. A lake has opposite shores. A river, two banks. A valley, two sides. Everywhere the wise women sigh while the birds fly over the borders. Raindrops. Rain is alive. Rain is life. We living things, all of us, are water droplets. Consciousness is a form of water. We are children of the morning dew. Vapor rising from the sea, clouds of vapor drifting toward land. Listen to the rain drench the suffering city streets. Listen to the dew. Raindrops in a summer shower, bouncing on roofs, swirling down storm drains, hovering on eyelashes, dripping down chestnut leaves, seeping into meadows, flowing through soil, snowflakes drifting through cumulus clouds, floating into children's eyes, blowing against tree trunks, piling into drifts, perfect, unique crystals, coating star maple branches, rabbit burrows, cranberry bogs. Listen to the snow cover the hills. Listen to the clouds. Listen to the waterfalls. Listen to the waves endlessly splashing. Water droplets underground flood along the watershed, gather into currents, surface again. Mountain springs of purity trickle around pebbles, leaping brooks, babbling over frogs, flowing past tongues of turtles, splashing streams, meandering around oxbows, funneling into whirlpools, eddying into gentle swells, surging into great rivers, crashing against rocks, We are vapor. We are clouds. We are rain. We are all snowflakes. We are dew. We are rivers flowing together into the ocean, our mother, and she is us too. Then why do military drones keep striking wedding parties of snowflakes? Why do clouds still cry themselves to sleep at night from cold and hunger, while warehouses are packed with clothes and food? Then why are 2 million American raindrops still in prison? Why are we poisoning the children of the morning dew? Cloud castles. After all this blood, here we are, still torn in this crisis of destruction and delusion. At a time like this, how can we even think of celebration? Remember that hazy summer day we lay side by side in the grass, just you and me, gazing lazily into the clouds? Tell me, what do you see? A dolphin jumping through a wave, a swaying palm tree, a field of corn, or a rhinoceros horn, wind and rain. The shapes change, a swooping bumblebee, a raging storm at sea, a crimson bird soaring along the horizon, a frowning cloud, an angry crowd, a thundering herd of bison. Look up into the sky, into the clouds. Tell me what you see. Grim masks in crowded dungeons, prisoners whispering forbidden thoughts forever unfinished, midwives hugging bleeding infants, orphans holding endless wakes, widows seizing desperate moments, windows shattering lost childhoods, concrete collapsing bridges and dams, toxic water gushing through neighborhoods, broken priests torturing war dogs, just everyday terror and plunder, boys murdering men, murdering women, forests blazing, animals fleeing, all the great-grandchildren scream, the gangster banker regime, the loathsome empire's last bitter crimes, drip, drip, dripping dark splatters of blood on the last rotting dreams, clotting in the last gutter. None of this will ever be forgotten. And yet, it is written. Invincible regimes collapse. All-powerful empires swept away to nowhere. New civilizations arise from the earth with a kiss. The clouds change. The moment of celebration is to be. Remember that hazy summer day we lay lazily in the grass, just you and me, gazing up into the sky? Tell me, what do you see? Lovers in a filthy jail, the rings on a tiger's tail, salmon creeks, flamingo beaks, gazing gazelles, Buddha bells, flowering Joshua trees, sunrise over turquoise seas. I think I've got 3 more poems for you. This is called The Lake of Our Emergence. What is a word? A meaningful vibration. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was creation. Rock, air, fire, water, oak leaves, ocean waves, tropical jungles, ocelots, gasps of ecstasy, groans of love. We look into each other's eyes as we pass in the street. But we don't say a word, but we understand the meaningful vibrations beyond words or before words, both before and beyond words at the same time. All living things, all non-living things, music, waterfalls, on this planet and beyond, flocks of small birds in the early morning, crickets at dusk, the gurgle of a baby, the voices of a singing brook. What are words? Meaningful vibrations. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was creation. We walk these slippery banks along the lake of our emergence, the center pole of our forest, our muddy port of entry into this world, our origin of place, our place of origin. We step from the lake into the place we belong. Only briefly do we walk here today, learning how to be indigenous, these restless streets we pace, where our unborn great-grandchildren play. Breezes blow wavelets rolling toward the far shore, while around us hushed fields of poppies grow, and beneath our feet rocks melt and caverns of magma flow. The uniforms, face shields, nightsticks, separating brother from daughter, sister from mother, do not separate illusion from delusion. All truth is recreated each morning when a small bird peeps out of a nest hidden in a lilac bush by the water's edge. To be able to walk here today since the world began is a gift of inexpressible joy. Who gets to claim this wild, watery homeland as their own? Who gets to call it home? Every place is the center of the world, and everywhere is our place of origin. Emergency. Today is a day of emergence. Blue jays emerge from red oak nests, bumblebees emerge from gillyflowers, sunbeams emerge from ominous clouds, earthworms emerge from composted soil. Emergency. Emergence of turtles sunning on floating logs. Emergence of spotted dogs frolicking in parks. Emergence of lovers sipping wine in outdoor cafes. Emergence of orphans wishing on shooting stars. Emergency. Federal grand juries emerge from alleyways. Undercover cops emerge from dumpster bins. Stockbrokers emerge from solitary. Emergency. Emergence of angry seas crash and squall. Emergence of trees tremble and fall. Emergence of smoke billows in every direction. Emergence of sidewalks roll and crack. Emergence of great chasms and sinkholes. Emergence of, we won't take this anymore. Emergence of, organize, educate, resonate. Emergence of solidarity together. Emergence of toppling statues of patriarchs. Emergence of islands from the waves. Emergence of laughter at midnight. Emergence of dismantle the chain fences. Emergence of bankers crying like babies. Emergence of babies dreaming of paradise. Emergence of another glorious day of emergence. Today is a day of emergence. Emergency. finished my reading with a poem called A Regime Change. That rumbling in the distance, that shuddering in the air, just the wind maybe, or the shadows, but I don't think so. Something's coming. You can feel it. You can hear it. The flares in the sun, those tides on the beach, that trembling under our feet, the clock hands spinning round and round, the newspapers blowing down and down, that night train, that freight train, 100 boxcars long, barreling toward us through the moonless desert night, down this God-forsaken dead-end street. What's in those boxcars, I wonder? What are they bringing? Where? Total devastation? The end of life as we know it? Or the simplest of all, the hardest to reach? Just the basics, please. The fundamentals. A sunny afternoon, picnic on a blanket, biting into a ripe peach, the greenness of the trees, the kids rolling in the weeds, homes to live in, healthy food to eat, schools, doctors, a little spending money, and time, precious time. At moments such as these, when epics end and begin, they say a crack opens between worlds, just for an instant, then quickly shuts again. Seize the instant. Regime change now.
Once again, another hand for John Curl. And Rainbow Weather is here, and Mahnaz has Ask the Wind and Raven at Isfahan. Okay. All right, I believe next up we have Nina. I believe Nina's next. All right, wonderful.
Thank you for allowing me to read prose, but I promise I try to write poetry. It's a very old phone. It's gonna load. Okay, this is the opening of this short story called That Winter. That winter, my life was a Moleskin's notebook of bullshit. I needed new shoes. I hated my roommates. I needed German lessons. I discovered good writing. I needed money. I needed green honey. I hated my new job. I hated working in an underfunded after-school program in the Tenderloin, San Francisco. On this job, I was called a teacher, a coach, or a counselor by adults. However, the kids called me Margot if they were not paying me. But my desired name was the great whore, Margot, which sadly nobody at work knew about. Adding insult to injury, I was also acutely aware that nobody would be pleased to hear my truth. So I kept it within me, where it was celebrated and consensually catcalled. My job duties were helping the students with their homework problems and monitoring their safety. Near the end of my shifts, I folded 36 chairs and tables and stacked them at a corner. I swept the building's lobby where all the snacks were distributed, arts and craft project happened, and most of the toys were kept. If nobody was around me, I enjoyed going through the toys. Occasionally, I would steal a toy or two. Once, I gifted a very eye-catching, squishy, and metallic pink ball stolen a week before to an Apple systems engineer on my second date with him. On the first date, he gave me a long lecture about the interesting history of the color pink in gender coding. I hadn't asked for it, but he couldn't resist. I was standing in front of him in a pink lingerie lace bodysuit. I was dysphoric, lost, and lonely, but I knew I was sexy too. My bits were visible and pink. He was sitting at the edge of his bed in his sun-filled bedroom with a gorgeous bay window facing the Loris Park. He talked about the history of pink in the Sears catalog. I masturbated for him as per request. He talked about the ending of the Great Gatsby novel, early gender coding, and the color pink. I was on my back inserting a pink dildo in my butthole as per request. He talked about a Baz Luhrmann interview and the color pink. I pulled out a pink bead chain from my butthole as per request. He talked about a fashion museum in New York City, second wave feminism, the 17th century Italian fresco and their connection to pink. I mixed the juice that was coming out of my butthole with my frontal juice. The result was also pink. He commented on that too. Later, as I was getting ready to leave, I asked him, "What would you do with a very eye-catching metallic pink ball?" He thought for a second. "I will hang it on my parents' Christmas tree. They must be very proud of you." "Yes, they are. Would you shove it in my butthole if I ask you?" I did not hesitate. "Of course I will." He smiled and told his watch to make a calendar date for the same time next week with the great whore Margot. It was only later that I remembered the pink ball I had stolen was too squishy. The engineer and I decided to use a size 3 pink butt plug instead. It was a great date, and he gave me a $500 bonus at the end of our session. I thought it was because of my great performance and gift of the stolen goods. Unfortunately, it turned out it was his last week in town before flying to his native Vienna to take care of his ailing parents. It was his way of saying goodbye. I thought this gesture was undoubtedly inspired by some great corporation's severance package policy. I wish everybody would say goodbye to me like that. Truce, baby pink. Thank you so much. There's a pink there.
I'm not sure who's Clara. Who's next on the list?
It's Symphony.
Ironically, I'm wearing pink. But I won't be able to follow up to that, sadly. Okay. So this is a piece called The Unknown. I died in San Francisco. The woman I am, I take a torch and light her on fire. Proudly, I watch her turn to ashes as a new woman claims the I am, and her name is Symphony. My dreams died in San Francisco. I take a match and ignite them. Proudly, I watch them burn to a crisp as new dreams claim the I will be, and their name is a symphony. My future died in San Francisco. I detonate them with an explosive device. Joyously, I watch them explode into smithereens as a new future prepares the I am. And its name belongs to symphony. All that is left now are the ashes of expired dreams. For 8 years I claimed one dream for the I am, held that dream tightly against my breast, shielding it from anything that would try to do it harm, including me, my sometimes worst enemy. But now the unknown caresses my cheek and whispers to me, it's time to leave and live your new dreams. The path forward has changed permanently. Fear briefly grips me, but the promise of a new dawn eases me. Relief bathes me in the waters of authenticity. Society no longer binds my limbs. I'm not afraid of its condemnation. Family no longer masks my mouth. I'm not afraid of the denunciation. Instead, wings flutter against my spine. I look up at the sky with fragile doe eyes at the mountains before me, ready to climb until my wings are ready for flight. Symphony, symphony. The conductor of her own life rises to the I am. The I am. One day you'll be calling my name, Symphony. Maybe not today or tomorrow or even 10 years from now. You can bet I'ma grind it out. Odd jobs, I'll take them, so I work on my craft. Your 9 to 5 don't interest me. Generally, people won't understand why I left a life of guaranteed security. And that's okay, you don't need to relate to my story. Leave it all behind and become a rapper at 33. They tell me I'm crazy, my chances of making it so slim. They ask me, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your plan? If it don't work out, people your age don't waste their time with it. You wanna make this your career? Please get out of here. Why haven't you settled down? Ain't interested, no picket fence. Got no husband, no kids, and no plans too. Just want a corgi. I'll happily be the rapping cat lady. Try and shove me in a box. Good luck, cause I always rise above. A new me is coming through the portal, and her name is Symphony. Rising to the I am. Hello, planet Earth. How are you doing? All these humans with these little plans and insecurity. My social status irrelevant to me. Rising to the I am Symphony. Got a mytho that's washed over me. The negative speech, I'm drenched in him. They got attitude, demanding answers. What you doing here? This field is for kids. Grown women don't rap professionally, at least not you. But what am I to do with all this information? People, your opinions, none of my business. So talk away, I ain't listening. I'm too busy working on my craft. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not delusional, long road ahead, but want to become one of the best.
Thank you.
Ariane?
And then Shira.
Hi, my name is Chirag. I'm no poet. Just a few years back, I was going through something, so just channeled the unrequited feelings on paper. So I'm just going to read out a couple of poems that I wrote at that time. The first one is The Leaf. I gazed at this leaf in the wind-danced shade, without a trace of grief, as happy as one could be. Upwards she soared, like chasing a dream. Downwards she trickled, like a child's ice cream. In love with her I fell, determined was I to make a chase. Not another soul could I tell, only prayed for her embrace. She jumped into a brook, oblivious to my love, with all the pride it took. Throw me at her, I begged a dove. Away she floated from me as I drowned and turned grim. For I was just a pebble, you see. I wish I had learned to swim. The second one is called Water. The waves in the ocean are like the swirls in your iris, each drowning me under, one gaze at a time. The waterfalls in the forest are like the curls in your hair, each flowing through my fingers, one lock at a time. The dew on the leaves are like the wrinkles on your lips, each quenching my thirst, one kiss at a time. The raindrops in the sky are like the freckles on your skin, each cleansing my soul, one sin at a time. It feels like an eternity, walking this lonely desert. Every time I look at the horizon, I think I see you now.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you. And I believe Alexi next, and then we'll have JR.
I'm kind of tall. I don't know what I'm doing, so. Okay. I lied. Didn't want to mess anything up. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of nervous. Okay. I call this poem Suffocate. I held my breath, hoping it would all go away, like the leaves in the wind, thinking if I hold it all in, then eventually I'll have to let it all out. Only now I'm not thinking of my breath, I'm thinking of these emotions. I hold them all in until eventually I pass out. I attempted to cry, like how the clouds do when in the sky, yet only 2 tears fell from my eyes, which made me feel that nothing was wrong. Maybe I no longer have the ability to cry because I've made myself feel nothing for so long. I try to let it out, but then I overthink. I search for the roots buried deep, so very deep inside of me. I try to figure out what's wrong with me. Then I think there's no need to speak because I've already found the source of these feelings, which then leaves me feeling like a tree, an empty tree, as I try to deal with all these rotting feelings inside of me.
Who just signed up. I think JR is up next, and maybe I'll read something. JR Johnson.
Well, I see a lot of lovers here. And I must tell you, I am the master of personas. I have visited the precincts of heaven and hell. And what I've seen is that on one side you're going to have people who are living outside eating hot dogs, popcorn, and soda pop. And later on they will go to their tents in the back and they will make love knowing that they have everything that life has to offer. And on the other precinct, You're going to have people in Southern California doing the bop, the swing, all those things that we know about in being young. Meanwhile, this is the kingdom of heaven. We are keepers of the garden. Around us there's a glow. Here's peace, harmony, and love. Fulfillment and abundance is standard. With others I share the mandate. Heavenly love is at hand, offering salvation to women and man. Giving cups promised and granted. Salvation has come to the planet. The path leads to the prophets and their lives. Salvation is now, so welcome home to live with us in the luxury of the poet's song. Keep me back from the scarlet hour. Time catch mine on homecoming queen. That ocean beach they're rocking and are rolling. It's sweet 16 and I'm back again. Hold me back from the edge of darkness. Orange juice spiked with grins and songs. Riding the highways, a beachcomber always. Oh, my tenderness and smile. Keep me close to bountiful bosom. Kissing dew from my sweetheart's brow. Feel the rise on a rising belly. Hold my grave beneath the dye. Let the people see my mouth. Fill them with joy and happiness. Bring the young ones to my presence. Let them feast on verse and legend. Never speak of age and swelling. Hide my pills in the cupboard aside. Say of friends with whom I'm dwelling. Getting down with party girls. Doing the boogie woogie all night long. Around 4 a.m. when most folks hook up, candy, gossip, and the rib tips. That's my voicemail dripping gravy. Let's do biscuits and rock the planet. While I ponder new appointments, thoughts of you and honey combined. Terrible cravings, oh so splendid. Please, stay with me one more line. Poets never die. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this has been a wonderful, wonderful afternoon of poetry. Our speakers, Mahnaz Badihian, John Curl, and all of you wonderful people who read, and all of you wonderful people who came to listen. We really appreciate that. I'm going to just share a couple of poems real quickly. This one is inspired by Mahnaz. This is entitled Poem for Baktash Abtin. And Baktash Abtin was murdered, an Iranian poet and literary giant who was murdered in his cell. This is Poem for Baktash Abtin. Whenever they don't like the things you say, they try to shut you up, then they shut you down and make you pay the highest cost. Your freedom's lost when you dare to speak, wrong time, wrong place. They mute you into silence with a 6-year sentence, then send you to waste away. One day, they give COVID a key and directions to your cell to steal your voice so that you can no longer tell the truth of their repressive ways. They make you suffer and wait
without medical care until you are too weak to walk, too frail to fight, but strong enough to shine a light on a regime that uses fear and tyranny to strangle any attempts that express free thought, free will, or free speech. And one more, a little lighter, maybe a little bit more on the environmental side, perhaps. Ficus. Me, my ficus, and I don't take transitions in stride. When made to move, we often get adamant, sometimes refuse. Maybe shed some leaves, perhaps a tear or two, but later learn to adapt and make the best of wherever we're able to rest our limbs or other things we feel the need to stretch. Me, my ficus, and I sleep deep into day while we miracle glow at night. Get nourishment from the sun, but shun direct or very bright. We reach for the shade with all of our might, but when temperature's too high or humidity's too low, we dig our roots in firmly in the valiant attempt to grow. Me, my ficus, and I don't have much choice which way our branches go. We all have to bow or bend to the command of a greater force. Sometimes we're too sensitive, too easily bruised and hurt, too willing to embrace the neglect that rejects us, so we're left jinxed, damned, and cursed, feeling less than our best with no direction or defense from being broken or bent. We're watching rainy day drops dot the other side of the pain while we're slowly dying of thirst. Sometimes I'm just like my ficus, blooming and then losing leaves, often for no apparent reason. Sometimes due to mood, sometimes due to season. But me, my ficus, and I will always find ways to survive. No matter the challenge, somehow we'll manage to keep most of our leaves and thrive. Though we still might drop a few from time to time, it's all right, it's all right. It's just another day in the life of me, my ficus, and I. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Next month, we will have as our features Sally Love Saunders, who you heard read earlier today, and Jennifer Barone, who will also be the other feature. Please come, please bring your poems, please bring your voices, please bring your ears, and share. Thank you all, stay well, see you all next month, April 15th, Saturday, April 15th, third Saturday, Poetry in Chinatown. Thank you, Clara. Thank you, Clarion. My name is Greg. Good night. Thank you. Books for sale. John and Mahnaz books here if you're interested.
Wait, you stayed on stage. Impervious to any questions.
I don't know when they're going to be featured.
Mahnaz?
Okay.
How much is the book? $15 in cans. And not sure might be about $15.